Naked, like all good films, is about a lot of things. It's not, I don't think it's about one thing. I think it's a very probing dissertation on relationships, you know, not just sexual relationships or, but about the way that we interact with people, the way in which people, particularly in a city, find themselves so isolated.
Where was you thinking of sleeping tonight?
Dunno.
Where did you kip down last night?
In the park.
Is that not cold?
Aye. Where are you thinking of sleeping, like?
Wherever I drop.
It echoes that idea of only connect, you know, that it's so hard for people to make connections. It's those missed opportunities, what could have been for people, and then what the reality of life ultimately brings to them. And with that, there's the hope of you're still alive, there's always tomorrow. When you string together and you look at all of Mike Leigh's work, you get that real thread of humanity running through it. And that's what makes it so beautiful, so watchable, so moving, in a completely kind of honest and earned way. Mike Leigh, I think he spends as much time as he does crafting characters and situations because he wants to get to the heart of the matter. He wants to get to what is real. And for him, I think in Naked, Johnny's universe, you know, is one that is very troubling to he as a filmmaker, and definitely to that character. You know, the character is on the run practically the entire picture. He's someone who is not really home in any conventional sense of the word. It would be interesting to know what the initial impetus was to create that character of Johnny that seems now synonymous with David Thewlis. It really is one of those kind of actors bursting onto the screen in the way that Brando did in Streetcar Named Desire.
What's the matter?
Don't do that.
What, that? That?
David Thewlis just erupted in this part, and it's indelible, the mark that he made. You can't think of the movie without thinking of him. He virtually inhabits, not every frame, but it feels as if he leaves his, for want of a better word, residue. You know, he feels like he leaves a trail, you know, a mark. And part of that is the grime that he's wearing, and part of it is just the absolute ferocity with which he deals with life. And it's amazing how you can see it change on this actor's face, from fear to cynicism to hopefulness, you know, in the smallest ways. I think Thewlis in particular understands that unblinking camera. The camera, you know, unless there's going to be a cut, it sees everything. And he really understands that cardinal rule of acting, which is reacting. You know, a line ultimately is a prop. You have something to say. I have something to say. I have a cigarette, and God knows he smokes a lot of cigarettes in this picture. I have a drink. Actors love props. But I think the truly great screen actors are great at reacting to sitting and listening to someone. You can see, you know, the intelligence and the way that they feel about what someone has said.
So what is it that you're guarding?
Space.
You guarding space? Well, that's stupid, isn't it? Because someone could break in there, right, and steal all the fucking space, and you wouldn't know it had gone, would you?
It's easy to think back to the film and remember all of the tirades, the kind of completely brilliant, maniacal, verbal tirades that he has about everything from, you know, the moon to cigarettes to the state of England. But it's really in that small behavior that you really start to see just how clever his performance is.
Sorry, sir.
The idea is to create characters that nobody else has seen, nobody else has created. Mike Leigh, what he really is best at is helping us appreciate all of the layers of life, all of the realms and classes, particularly, you know, that English social class system. The people that live on the fringes of that. I think he's most successful in that world of Johnnies and Louises. Like, I think Leslie Sharp as Louise is kind of the unsung hero or heroine of that particular film. She's so real and so good. You can just kind of feel the pain of seeing Johnny again, the pain of having him there, knowing that he's probably been making physical advances towards Sophie, the way she stands up to everyone, you know, particularly this landlord who's come back into the house and has been acting devilish with the women.
Oh, do you not want me to slice your prick off and shove it up your ass?
I just think she's quite an amazing actress. I remember seeing her years ago at the Royal Court in Carol Churchill's Top Girls, and I stopped her and wanted to say, you know, hello and just how great I thought her work was. And I'd followed her through Jim Cartwright's Road, which Alan Clark made a film out of, and I've just always been a fan of hers. And then seeing her in this movie was exceptionally nice, because I thought she had such a good role and really was such a strong support, you know, and the perfect, you know, foil in a way to Johnny's character, because she understood the world that he came from, and you could, in a handful of lines, you could really feel the year, you know, of probably love and pain that they had brought to each other, because you could feel the connection that he had to her, that he's made this trip and he wants her, you know, in so many ways, and he lashes out and he's hurt and he's attracted to her, and for that character to want someone in such a way, it helps you know how special she is.
So what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Dunno. Might go home for the weekend.
Well, there's no place like it.
Might not come back. Are you going back?
At the time when the film came out, he had charges of misogyny leveled at him in the same way, I think, not unlike some of the things that were said about the film that I did in '97, In the Company of Men. And I think in both cases that it was kind of unfounded in terms of the pictures. And particularly this movie, I think that Naked, while the treatment of women is seriously looked at, I think it would be very hard for someone to honestly say that he's creating something that is not true. Not true in the sense that it happens, that people are, both men and women, are often mistreated in relationships. Not all women, not all men. That's the beauty of fiction. You know, it really only has to be true for the little part of the world that you create.
Did you buy them like this, or are the holes self-inflicted?
Nah, a spider spun them, and that's where he had a tea break. Fuck you, now, that's a bit excessive, innit?
I rather like this belt too.
Oh, God. Here we go.
The women in this picture certainly give as well as they get. That you have when you have really strong actresses in those parts, that helps. But I think that the characters are all working from a place of desire, of need. You know, they're very needy people, and that manifests itself in a variety of ways. Sometimes very aggressively, sometimes assertively, sometimes passive-aggressively.
You stop fucking about and fidgeting in my peripherals and trying to concentrate.
She's got a very little waist, Sophie, hasn't she? She's got little tits and all.
What Mr. Leigh is particularly good at is creating people who live in a kind of gray zone. You know, they aren't good and bad people. They're people who make choices that are profoundly human and show them to be good and, you know, good and bad within, you know, an hour of each of those choices. They're people who are constantly searching, kind of reaching out, but are flawed. They're flawed and therefore human, and so for me, very easy to understand and to feel compassion for.
You've got a very sad face.
Have I?
That's all right. I mean, I find that attractive. But that's me.
The key ingredient for me is interest, that they hold my interest. Not that they're good or bad or funny or sad, but that they're interesting. And he creates worlds that are profoundly interesting. It's a bleak portrait of life, but it's infused with a real humanity. And I think that's its saving grace, is that no matter what Johnny does, you still find yourself pulling for him. It's one of those films that ends in such a superb way, because I remember not wanting it to end where it did. As I watched it, I thought to myself, the little voice started in going, oh God, he's not gonna end it here. It's not going to end. Yep, here it is, it's over. There's a lot of talk about the present and the future and the past in this picture, and I think that he lives by that. He realizes that we're always in that moment, and that there will be a continuing present for Johnny, that wherever he is, he'll be causing a certain amount of unrest. He's a troubled soul, but he's a soul who, on the positive side, is always searching.